Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. I firstly want to apologize for the delay we just had, or I just had, um, technical difficulties, but it is sorted now. All right, so today we are doing our grade. It's actually grade 8, but it's actually high school advanced writing. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca with our username and password. And then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts, grade 8, because we're going to focus on grade 8. And then we are going to scroll down up until we get to research writing. Right, so our chapter is going to be research writing. Our subject is English Language Arts, grade 8. We're focusing on grade 8, but it's high school advanced writing. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on is to recognize the parts of a works cited entry, MLA 7th edition, and to identify plagiarism. All right. So when it comes to writing, when you take something, firstly, when you write something or you research something, right? If they were to ask you to research um anything, right? Of course, whatever you research is information that belongs to someone else. So anything that you find on the internet belongs to someone else, right? And when it comes to research, whenever you research, you are going to have to acknowledge the people or the person where you got the information from. And that is in the form of reference writing. And when we acknowledge, let's say, the person that or the people that you got the information from, and then it means that you will then have a bibliography that clearly states that, okay, this is where I got the information. I got it in this book, I got it in that book, right? So you are going to have to then state where you got the information from. And that is to avoid plagiarism. And we are going to find out what plagiarism is. And plagiarism is when you take somebody else's basically intellect, you take somebody else's work, you take somebody else's words and you use it as your own. And there's nothing wrong with repeating what somebody had said. But when you do repeat what somebody else had said, and then it means that you are going to have to specify in a form of your reference writing by stating that you got this information from this book, you got it on the internet, you got the information maybe from a specific article, right? And there is different types of entries or cited entries. And the one that we are going to be focusing on is the MLA 7th edition. And we are going to find out how you can reference whether you took information from a book, an article, from the internet, right? Because remember, especially nowadays, we mainly get our information from the internet. And you get if you take information, any information from the internet, and then it means that you're gonna have to reference it. You're gonna state the name of the person, the surname of the person, maybe the year that it was published, or the year that it was written, the title of the article or the book or the title of the website, maybe, right? And then whatever information that you take from there, you are going to have to cite that person by stating, for example, that maybe saying Jacobs 2023, and then you say what Jacobs 2023 said, meaning that wherever you got the information from, the author's name or surname is Jacobs, and he or she published this article in 2023. So when writing research, right, when writing research papers, you will often be asked to follow a particular style guide when it comes to your citations. So remember, when you're writing research papers, you are going to be writing research papers from grade 8, basically right through to the university. And it's almost like, I wouldn't say it gets worse, but it gets more difficult the higher you go, the higher grade you go. The same with the university. So when you're writing a research papers, you will often be asked to follow a particular style guide for your citation. And there are different types of style guides, but either different schools, different institutions, different universities, um, in different countries even, they use their own specific style guide that they specifically want to focus on. And one popular style guide is the MLA, which is the Modern Language Association, abbreviated MLA handbook. So that is one of the popular style guides, which is the Modern Language Association, which is also known as the MLA. And that is a particular style guide or a handbook, right, that one can follow for your citations. And now we're going to look at basic formats for some of the common types of work citations or cited entries, right? And once we, for example, when it comes to our common types of works cited entries, you're going to have to look at your Modern Language Association handbook. And there you will, of course, get the whole completed list. You will get literally books, articles, magazines, how you can cite all of that, how you cite online journals, things that's paperback, that's hard copy, soft copy. They will basically tell you how to reference everything, how to cite even a newspaper article, right? And that you will find in the Modern Language Association handbook. But for now, we're going to look at a few common types of works cited entries from the Modern Language Association handbook, the MLA. And this is a handbook that you are going to use basically now until probably your last grade. I'm not sure if you call it matric, your grade 12. I'm not sure if you also call it your matric, but it's grade 12. And then depending on the college or university that you go to, it's either they follow still the Modern Language Association handbook, or they might have either Harvard style or APA style, depending on the style guide that that specific institution focuses on. All right. So here are a few basic formats for some of our common types of works cited entries. For example, if we were to cite books, if you were to go to the library, right? You go to the library and you need to research about photosynthesis, for example. So you'll go to the library and they will specifically take you to that side where all of these type of books are. You have your books. Now you need to write your research paper. And when you write your research paper, remember there's of course things that you're going to take from the book. There's of course going to be your own opinions on things, but most of it you're going to take from the book. And once you take anything from the book, you're going to have to cite that book, cite the author, cite whatever information that you got from there. And if you write your bibliography at the end of your research paper, then this is the steps that you're going to have to follow. So you are maybe going to say, let's say, for example, you are citing Pride and Prejudice, right? You took the book Pride and Prejudice and you're going to be writing about that. The author is Jane Austen, and this was published in 1995. So which means that if you're going to write your research paper and you are citing from that book, and then you're going to say Austen 1995 stated, and then you say what he or she said. Or according to Austen 1995, and then you're going to say what the person said. Or you're going to quote, and then you go and you write Austen 1995 and you put the page number. But when you write, for example, your bibliography or your reference list at the end, you're going to follow the format of the author's names and surname. If it's more than one, for example, you add them. The title of the book title, the city of publication, the publisher, year of publication, and the medium of publication, right? That is when we cite books. So if you took information from a book, if you took information from essays, short stories, or poems in a book or collection, right? Say, for example, there is one book with a collection of essays or short stories or poems in this one specific book, then it means that you are going to have to cite the authors. If you are, for example, either writing essays, poems, stories, or so on, you're going to write that down. So let's say, for example, you are citing a story, and then you're only going to write down the title of that story, or the title of the poem, or the title of the essay. The book title with all these collection of short stories, poems, or essays in, the editor's name, the publisher, the year of publications. You're even going to write down the page numbers, because remember, if this is a collection, right? If this is a book with different collections of essays or stories or poems within this one specific book, and you are citing or you're making mention of one poem, then you're also going to have to write down that page numbers, right? If you cite a magazine and a newspaper article, right, the very same thing, you need to write down the author, the article title. If you're taking one specific article about food and you need to write a review about the food, right? Then you're going to write down the title of that article, the name of the magazine or newspaper, the date of publication, the page numbers. Because remember, in a magazine, there are different collections of things that people write about. There's food, there's entertainment, there's, everything. And the medium of publication. And if you take something from the internet, which is your web pages, right? Because nowadays we mainly take things from web pages or from the internet, you're going to have to still state the author's name, the page title, if there is, the name of the website, the publisher, the date of publication, the medium of publication, and the date that it was accessed. And remember, these are all the things that they're going to look at, because now it basically shows that you did not steal anybody's work. Yes, we are going on the internet, and I am taking the work of James, or I'm taking the work of Janelle Gunn, or I'm taking the word of David Hayes, because it is public. But once you repeat what David Hayes or Janelle Gunn had said, then you need to cite whatever they had said by basically referencing, by stating who or where you got the information from. And that is to avoid plagiarism. Plagiarism is when you take somebody else's work, somebody else's information, somebody else's intellect, and you basically write it as your own. That is plagiarism. And if you look at extra or additional guidelines when it comes to our reference writing, right? So, additional guidelines when it comes to reference writing, it says that the author's names, right? You need to first write the author's name. The first author's name is written in the last name, meaning the surname first. So, you're going to write the surname first, then the first name. For example, Smith, comma, Jane. Surname, comma, name. If you write the additional, all the other authors, additional authors' names are then written in first name, last format. For example, the first author that you write down is the surname Smith, comma, and its name, or his or her name. Then once you write all the additional authors, like maybe you have a second one, then you're going to write the name and surname, not surname and name. When it comes to the medium of publication, the medium of publication, it says with each entry, it must include information about what form the content was communicated in. And the most common mediums are maybe print or web page, meaning it is either a paperback, it is a book, it is something that you can get at the library, or a book that you got from someone, or at the bookstore. That is a printed copy, or from the web, right, which is from the internet. And nowadays, mainly our information is from the internet. But other forms or other mediums of publications, right, can also be from a film, from a movie, something that you have watched, a documentary. You can maybe get it from an email, and you can also cite your lecture, the lecture slides, everything. And when it comes to missing information, right, if a work has no author, then the author section of the citation is simply left out. You just don't put the author. If the work has no available page numbers, the abbreviation N.PAG is then used for no page instead. And if the work has no available publication date, you need to put ND, and that is used to show that there is no date. And if a work has no available publisher or no available city of publication, then we use NP to show that there's no publisher or no available city of publication. That is when we have missing information like the name of the author. You just leave it out. The page number, then you put NPAG for page, no page. Like the date of publication. If there's no date of publication, you put ND for no date. And if there is no available publisher or no available city of publication, then we just put NP, abbreviation NP. And that means that there's no available publisher or there's no available city of publication. That is but additional guidelines when it comes to reference writing and citations. And once again, we use the MLA version, the seventh edition. MLA stands for Modern Language Association, and this is one of the popular style guides, the Modern Language Association, MLA. And this was but a few more common types of works cited entries. And if you want to look at more, you can then basically go to the Modern Language Association MLA Handbook 7th edition, and you will basically get a completed list of that style guides, of either books, newspaper articles, how you cite literally everything, right? But remember, keeping in mind that whenever you cite anything, whether it's from the internet or whether it is basically a printed edition or printed copy, you need to write down the details. You need to write down the author. You need to write down the information in that states where you got it from. And that is to avoid plagiarism. And once again, plagiarism is when you take work of somebody else and you write that same information as your own. It is not yours. You are just restating what that person had said. So, which means that you need to acknowledge that this, that, and the other, but you need to, for example, say Jane Austen, according to Jane Austen. Jane Austen states, Jane Austen stresses, and you basically state what the person or the author had said, right? That basically just shows that you did not take any information that belongs to somebody else and you made it your own. That shows that, there's no forms of discrepancies when it comes to plagiarism because you have not. You stated that this is the person or people that I got the information from. This is the books that I got it from. This is the web pages that I got it from. This is the film that I got it from. This is the lecture slides of my lecturer or my teacher that I got the information from, right? This is the email that was sent. That is why I just quoted from that person. But you need to use the form of citations. You need to cite, you need to write down your reference list stating where and who you got the information from, right? All right, so now we're quickly going to look at one example, right? Here it says select the medium of publication. In this work, cited entry for a short story in a collection. The medium of publication, how was it published? Either print or web. It says Steinberg, John, Tortillas and Beans, The Portable Steinbeck, edition or editor Pascal Kovici, Junior, New York, Penguin Books, 1943, 183, 2 page 194 print. And if we were to select the medium of publication, then we can say it is a printed edition. It is not from the web page. It is a hardcover book. It is a paperback book, right? Now we need to select the author's last name in the works cited entry for the magazine article. The author's last name, it says Harvey Sylvia A. What about us? The Nation, 21 December 2015, pages 10 to 17, print. And if we were to select the name of the last name of the author, and then we're going to say the last name of the author is Harvey. Because remember, we said that when we write the name of an author, we first put the last name, comma, the first name. But if you were to add another author to that one, then the first author will write the last name and then the first name. And then when it comes to the second author, we then write the first name and then the last name, right? So Harvey is the last name of that author. Select the medium of publication. We need to select the medium of publication. Sorry. It says Riccinelli Vito J at last. Stocks are in the black for 2016. Patterns 21 March 2016 M3 print. And if we were to state or select the medium of publication, how it is being published, and then we can say it is print. It is not from the web. It is a printed paperback book, right? All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on recognize the parts of a works cited entry, MLA, 7th edition, and that is under our chapter of research writing. Once again, I would like to apologize for my technical delay that I had. So in our next lesson, we will just continue on research writing. All right, so this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade 8, so very much high school learners or students. And I really hope you are going to have a good evening further. So till next time, goodbye.